Have you ever stopped to think about communication as, well, a system? Not just this thing that happens, but something with actual parts you can understand, you can analyze, and you can even upgrade. Okay, let's dive into this, because today we are going to map out the blueprint that's running behind every single conversation you have.
Of course you have, right? We all have. It's that super frustrating moment when what you meant to say just gets totally lost in translation. It's a universal feeling. But what if I told you that the reason for that breakdown isn't just random chance? It's a failure in a specific part of a surprisingly predictable system.
And here is where it gets interesting. The key to understanding our very human problem of miscommunication, it actually comes from a pretty technical place, the block diagram for a digital communication system. I know, it sounds a little weird, but stick with me here. This engineering blueprint is about to become the clearest map you've ever seen for navigating human connection.
All right, so let's pull up that blueprint. We're going to break down how a signal, and I mean any signal, from a Wi-Fi packet to your own words, gets from its source all the way to its destination.
So this is the basic model. You've got a source of information that gets processed by a transmitter, sent through a channel, picked up by a receiver, and then it's delivered. Now for what we're talking about, we're going to focus on those three key components right in the middle: the transmitter, the channel, and the receiver. This is where all the magic and, all the miscommunication really happens.
So let's start with the first piece of this puzzle. In our human system, you are the transmitter. You are the one who's encoding and sending the message. And how you do that is really determined by your fundamental communication style.
Think of your communication style as your own personal operating system, If you're running on passive, you're probably putting everyone else's needs first, and yours kind of fall by the wayside. If you're aggressive, you're doing the exact opposite. It's you first, everyone else second. But there is a third way, the one that sends the absolute clearest signal. And that sweet spot is assertiveness. See, the key here isn't about winning, it's about respect. You have high respect for your own needs and your own rights, and you have high respect for the other person's. This balanced approach is the foundation for transmitting a clear, uncorrupted message right from the get-go.
So if assertiveness is the operating system, then asking great questions is the software you run on it. This is how you actually send a better signal. It's about being direct, simplifying your ask, asking for stories instead of just simple answers, and even using silence as a tool to give the other person space to really think. It's how you build a high-quality message before you even hit send.
Okay, so you've crafted the perfect assertive message, but now you have to actually send it. And that space between you and the other person, the channel, it is never perfectly clean. It is full of distortion, or as the engineers would call it, noise.
Now, a huge source of noise in human communication comes from the way our words and our body language play off each other. Sometimes they work together perfectly. They repeat a point, they emphasize it. But the real problem, the static that just scrambles the whole signal, is when they flat out contradict each other.
This creates something called nonverbal leakage. It's when you say, "Sure, that's awesome," but your arms are crossed, your jaw is tight, your foot is tapping. Your true feelings are leaking out through your body language, creating a massive contradiction. So the receiver gets two competing messages: what you said and what your body is screaming. That is a very noisy channel.
Now let's be real, some channels are way noisier than others, and this quote from Mike Clayton just nails the recipe for maximum noise. High stakes, big emotions, a lot of complexity. When all that comes together, you get what we all call a difficult conversation. And this is a game changer. We can reframe this whole scary concept. A difficult conversation isn't some kind of personal failing. It's a technical problem. It's just two people trying to get a message through a channel that has a ton of static and distortion. And when you think about it that way, well, it becomes a problem we can actually start to solve. So that brings us to the final block in our system. A noisy, distorted signal has arrived. Now, it's all up to the receiver, the listener, to try and make sense of it all. Their job is to decode that messy signal and figure out what was originally sent.
So how do you actually do that? When the channel is noisy, you need better decoding tools. It means you have to start with curiosity instead of judgment. You use active listening. You validate their feelings to show them, hey, I'm receiving your signal. And then you work together to find a solution. But here, this is where our metaphor reveals its most important lesson. See, a digital receiver has a pretty simple job. It just has to look at a fuzzy waveform and decide, was that a 1 or was that a 0? It's a binary choice. A human receiver's job is infinitely more complex.
We're not decoding ones and zeros. We are trying to understand a person.
And that leads us to the ultimate point of this entire system, and the fundamental difference between how machines talk and how we humans actually connect.
A digital system's highest purpose is perfect replication. It wants the signal that's received to be an identical, bit-for-bit copy of the signal that was sent. But for us, the goal isn't just to have someone parrot our words back to us. The real goal is shared understanding. It's something so much deeper, so much more meaningful.
And here it is, the whole thing together. Our technical diagram now fully mapped to human connection. You have the transmitter sending with assertiveness. The channel is being distorted by noise like nonverbal leakage, and the receiver is working hard to decode it all using active listening, all in the service of understanding. This isn't just some abstract model. It's a diagnostic tool you can actually use. So I'll leave you with this question. Think back to your last significant miscommunication. Using this blueprint, where was the breakdown? Was it on your end as the transmitter? Was the channel just too noisy, too flooded with emotion? Or was the receiver just not equipped to decode what you were trying to send? Because once you know where the system failed, you know exactly what you need to fix for next time.